we spoke about Kamala Harris 2020, and today she has formally announced her run for presidency for 2020. She is being propped a lot by the mainstream media, most likely because she has a lot of funding and backing from Time Warner and a lot of big media conglomerates, which is weird. So they're plopping her up. I think she's having her own CNN town hall, and she's being looked at as someone who could be, another glass shatterer of woman minority president. And it's pretty disgusting because of all the garbage that she has committed as Attorney General of California, of the state of California, where she did horrific things. She laughed at her opponent, a Republican, supporting legalizing marijuana recreationally, and she laughed at the idea of that. She tried to keep a man who was deemed innocent by a federal judge in prison, and she also resisted a Supreme Court ruling to vacate some nonviolent drug offenders. That's going to play into this thing that I'm going to be looking at here, that I'm going to be talking about. And she went after this website for sex workers, and so that made them have to go out on the street, and it's more dangerous for them. She didn't endorse statewide use of a statewide, requirement for cops to wear body cameras, which is the most basic shit ever. And she also refused to have to investigate independently all police killings because there was a concern that, when these investigations happen locally, it's their buddies investigating them. They're not going to come down on them. Like, how are the cops' friends going to come down on them? They're not. So we need independent investigations by the Attorney General. And she refused to do it because she is a cop. She is an ally of cops. And so she, supported this. She did not do that because she supported cops. She's also shielded, cops from and prosecutors who are doing wrong in the court proceedings. Anyways, this is something interesting that she said. She's literally a walking contradiction, by the way. So there's this video from her announcement where she said, her quote is, "In my whole life, I've only had one client, the people." So that's a direct quote. I've only had one client, which is the people, which means, obviously, the people I've always, what I've represented, the client that I've represented is the American people, right? That's something that a lot of people like to say, but a lot of people don't actually do. And it's a common phrase, of course. Now, that's not true at all. In fact, this plays into what I was talking about earlier about the Supreme Court mandating vacancies of a bunch of people who were in jail on nonviolent drug offenses. So this is a quote from the New York Times article on this. It says, "Harris represented Governor Jerry Brown in fighting to release fewer prisoners than the lower courts initially ordered. Quote, 'I have a client and I don't get to choose my client,' she said." Could you be any more of a walking contradiction? Is it humanly possible to be more of a contradiction? Your entire fucking platform is running on, I'm going to represent black people, I'm going to represent minorities, I'm going to represent the poor, and it's supposed to be this identity run shit when you spent your entire fucking career locking up black people, poor black people, for using marijuana, going after sex workers. You're just a piece of shit. You know that? Fuck you. You're a piece of shit, period. And then you say, "In my whole life, I've only had one client, the people." There's a literal quote of her saying, "I have a client and I don't get to choose my client." The client she's referring to is Governor Jerry Brown. So how could you possibly, in God's name, be more of a walking contradiction than you already are, Kamala Harris? It is absolutely fucking possible. That's it. That's it. And I hate her so much because she may be worse than Hillary Clinton, okay? Because she was an actual prosecutor, prosecuting human beings, making truancies misdemeanors. Are you crazy? Why are you locking parents up for kids not going to school? It's insanely harsh. That's unnecessary. Why are you doing that? And that's obviously going to come down on poor communities. That's not the answer to helping poor people will get education. The fuck is wrong with you? I'm gonna put you in jail for your kid not going to school. You fuckface. What is wrong with you? Piece of shit. Anyways, I just had to talk about this. Fuck Kamala Harris 2020. I hate her guts. Period.